Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. And first off, I want to say, I'm back for better or worse. It is what it is. A couple things happened last week, and I kind of had to take a step back to get my head right. Kind of messed me up a little bit, but we're back today, and we got some new spoilers from the new Duskmourn set. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm not just the biggest horror fan, but I do love a good slasher, a good horror flick. Just I'm not gonna name any names, but you know what they are, the classics. Some of them. But if you have a classic horror film, leave it down in the comments below. I want to see what everybody's idea of a horror film is. But let's go on ahead and get into some of the spoilers from Duskmourn that I find the most interesting. So we're going to start off with the doll maker's shop into the porcelain gallery. This is an enchantment room. This is something new that we've never seen before. It's kind of like a play on the dungeons, but it's also kind of like an adventure card, kind of sort of. It kind of mixes both back and forth. But to start off with, you have to play it as the doll maker shop or the porcelain gallery. Which, if you're playing this in if we get any more of this, these are going to be perfect for like a Yuriko deck, especially if there's some good ones in there in blue and black. But let's go ahead and read the doll maker shop. Whenever one or more non-toy creatures you control attack a player, create a 1/1 white toy artifact creature token. Now, just this first part right here, this is enough to be just completely straight thrown into decks like anything that's extreme token based, or decks like Atla Palani, not Atla. Man, what was her name? Anim Pakal. There we go. I was gonna get there. So that way you could just continually have creatures and whatnot. And in the second room, when you unlock it, which is whenever you pay for the 4 and 2 white, which is the second side, you get the porcelain gallery. And then creatures you control have base power and toughness, each equal to the number of creatures you control, which would definitely allow for most go wide decks to actually end up going tall as well, which is a pretty unique type of effect, if we're being honest, because most of the time if you're going tokens, you're going wide, and you got to find a way to build them all up. So you're just kind of you're baiting your time out to try and get to the best opportunity to swing out for the alpha strike and whatnot. Now we're gonna move on to the ley line of hope. I guess we're gonna get a ley line cycle in this set, because I haven't seen any of the other ones, but we've only got like 48 cards, not counting the alternate versions. But Ley Line of Hope is for 2 and 2 white. It's an enchantment, and it has an effect just like all the rest of the ley lines. If it's in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield. And its second ability, if you would gain life, you gain that much life +1 instead. So it's a life gain ley line. And the second part kind of really gets me. So as long as you have this third part, as long as you have at least 7 or more life, then your starting life total, creatures you control get +2/+2. I can see this going in the life link flying angels decks, because they already want effects to make their angels bigger than they already are. Any a deck that wants life gain and life drain, or it's life gain to drain, stuff like that, this is going to be great, especially since you won't have to pay for it. I can think of decks probably like Illicil Core, stuff like that. All of the some of the one vampire from the Ixalan set, that whenever you gain a life, you put a counter on her, and when she gets 20, so on and so forth. And man, we are just This is the age of removal is key, and removal just keeps getting better and better. So we have Split Up for 1 and 2 white. This is a sorcery, and you can choose one. You can destroy all tapped creatures, which we'll get to that later, in my opinion on that. Or we can destroy all untapped creatures, which, to be fair, if you're playing a deck that has, like if your opponents play Intruder Alarm, this is probably one to skip over, because as soon as you, like, unless you can find a way to tap all your opponent's creatures and then cast the board wipe, I mean, that's about the only way I think you can be able to safely take care of that. I will say there is a angel called Subjugator Angel. You can actually tap an opponent's creatures, one opponent's creatures. I'd have to look that up. But if somebody down in the comments below can revise what I'm saying, bring up what I'm saying, that'd be great. And this, I'm just looking at all these cards for the first time, most of them. So, but yeah, all untapped creatures is pretty wild, especially if you have like opponents with vigilance on the board or something like that, which could still be pretty cool. Moving on to the Enduring Cycle, starting off with the Enduring Curiosity, and we're going with Enduring Curiosity because that's just probably one of the cutest little things I've ever seen. Enduring Curiosity for 2 and 2 blue. This is a 4/3 enchantment creature. It's a cat glimmer. I don't know what a glimmer is, but if it's anything like a fractal, it'll be different. So it has flash. And whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So this is almost like a Prophet of Crew. No, not Prophet. The Crewfix enchantment that lets, no, it's the Thassa's Bite in a Thassa. There we go. Type effect where you can deal damage and draw cards. And it doesn't say whenever one or more. So every creature that deals damage draws you a card. And whenever Enduring Curiosity dies, if it was a creature returned to the battlefield under its owner's control, and it's an enchantment. So you're literally getting, no matter if you lose it or not, as long as it wasn't exiled, you're still going to be able to draw cards, which could be extremely, extremely effective if you're playing, decks that constantly have flyers, like a mono blue flyer deck or a Thopter deck or something like that. Birds, stuff like that. That would be great. Or extremely evasive creatures, just to keep you in card advantage. This one is one that I just looked at and I was like, this has got to be crazy. I didn't even barely read any of it. So Valgavoth, Terror Eater. For 6 and 3 black, this is a 9/9. It's a 9/9 for 9. So it's pretty thematic. It's even. I like that. Legendary creature, Elder Demon. And this is probably one of the coolest arts I've seen so far, besides some of the showcase arts. And I mean, some of those go hard. But it's a 9/9 with flying and lifelink. The ward effect is sacrifice 3 non-land permanents. So unless you can, sack stuff, you're not getting them back. And you're not getting rid of this. If a card you didn't control would be put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. So it's a built-in, it's a 9/9 with flying and lifelink. So it's going to swing and it's going to hit hard. And it's going to gain you some life back. It's got a leyline of... the black Leyline of the Void stapled onto it. But it's just Leyline of the Void because it's all cards. And during your turn, you may play cards exiled with Valvagoth. So if cards get exiled, you get to play them. Oh, wow. That's like... It's almost like a reverse Bolas' Citadel where you're paying life to get the top of your library, but this is like, it's almost like a Dalthi Voidwalker, but you get to use it multiple times. You get to this could be busted. Like, I feel like this would go great in decks like the new Yigra, anything with big black devotion. What is it? Villas the Bloodbroker. This would be a great deck for that one, because if you're playing with Crick or something, you can easily just throw 3, 6, 2, 4, 6, 6 life into this and 6 mana, and it's pretty much off to the races at that point. Moving on to probably one of the coolest looking ones, and probably one that might actually see some play. The Scrabbling Skull Crab for 1 blue. This is a 0/3 crab skeleton with the Eerie ability. Whenever an enchantment you control enters, or whenever you fully unlock a room, target player mills 2 cards. Now, I don't know how prevalent the rooms are going to be and how well they're going to adapt to the metas like modern and whatnot. But we do have somewhat of a good mill strategy in standard right now. I feel like if they go like blue-black, I mean, we do have a black enchantment that discards cards. So, I mean, this could be a possible, include in a mill deck, in a Dimir mill deck, which is pretty awesome. Doomsday Executioner, I think that's how it said, for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 black. It is a 6/6, and I love how they're being thematic. I love it. What I am confused on is the artwork a little bit, just a hair, but we're going to get to that in a second. It is flying, and whenever Doomsday Excruciator, wow, that's a big word, enters, if it was cast, so it's got to be put, it can't be put from the battlefield from the graveyard onto the battlefield. You have to manually cast it. Each player exiles all but the bottom 6 cards of their library face down. Is that literally Doomsday? Holy moly, that's pretty dope. At the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card. Now that I think about it, because it says Doomsday, if you guys have seen any different arts of Doomsday, there are multiple arts of Doomsday. The actual card that does this similar effect. I think regular Doomsday is 5 cards. Let me know. Correct me down in the comments below if that's correct or not, if it's 5 cards. But Doomsday Excruciator is doing 6, which is very, very thematic for this card, because it's a 6 mana 6/6, and it leaves you with everything but 6, and you get to draw an extra draw. So that's pretty cool. I feel like this is gonna see some very various play in Commander, when demon decks, like I was talking about Villas earlier and stuff like that. So that's gonna be one to look out for. And this is an enchantment I think is going to be probably one of the most sought after in the set when it comes to uncommons. So this is Nowhere to Run for 1 and a black. This is an enchantment with flash. When it enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls gets -3/-3 until end of turn. But you say, how is that powerful? How do you think that's going to see play? Well, that's coming in the next paragraph. Creatures your opponents control can be the targets of spells and abilities as though they did not have hexproof. Ward abilities of those creatures don't trigger. So ward and hexproof are now shut off. Nobody can have them unless you have like an archetype of endurance, or what is it called? The archetype of, the hexproof from way, way back. Oh, I'm trying to think so hard, and it's making me sleepy. But yeah, this is going to be great in Commander especially. I feel like the art is awesome too, because it's like, if you like peer into the background, you see like these 2 pair of eyes that are just staring this person down as they terrify them, which is still pretty cool. I really like this art and the flavor of the card, because literally they have nowhere else to run. You're doing your damnedest to push them into a corner where all they have is whatever they can interact with, whatever protection they can apply on top of Nowhere to Run. And then we have an old face we haven't seen since the Commander decks and what's it called? Not the big score, but the wanted posters in Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Norn, the Weary, or of the Weary, has found himself on Duskmourn, the coward himself, the one that always, as soon as you see somebody else popping on the battlefield, he's one of those types that sees you get online and he gets offline. But anyway, let's get to the card. Norn, Swift Survivalist, for a single red. Oh, excuse me. For a single red, this is a 2/1 legendary creature, human coward. Guess they finally gave it to him. It can't block, and whenever a creature you control becomes block, you may exile it, and you may play that card from exile this turn. That's kind of wild. Like, it gives you the ETB and the cast trigger, as long as you're not, playing it from somewhere in your hand. That's pretty different, pretty neat. I can see this being in decks like, what is it called? Prosper Tomebound. The, what's it called? The green-red chick from Commander Legends. Maybe it wasn't Commander Legends. Maybe it was something else. Well, it's the ones that make foxes or wolves whenever you cast stuff from exile. Those are pretty spicy to add this into. And I love the flavor text on this one. It says, "I don't know what it was, so why would I stick around to find out?" That's pretty neat. And finally, on to probably one of the ones that I thought is the best one, and probably the one that I will do my damnedest to try and pick up. The Jolly Balloon Man. For 1, a red, and a white, this is a 1/4 legendary creature, human clown. This is our first legal commander printing of a clown. So it has haste, and then it also has, with the ability to have haste, it has a generic 1 ability, in tapping it, create a token that's a copy of another target creature you control, except it's a 1/1 red balloon creature in addition to its other colors and types, and it has flying and haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. So this is this could be probably one of the best Boros commanders that I have seen, for me personally, in a very long time. Like Feather was good, Tajik is good, and all those are good, but this is like really piquing my interest. This is the one that's like, tapping me on the shoulder saying, "It's your time, buddy." Just having the ability to, oh my goodness, this is going to be amazing, because you can play like cards like Anointed Procession in here to double your tokens. Now, granted, you can't make legendaries. You can use this for legendaries, but what it's going to do is it's going to, like, say if you already have a legendary creature and you tap to make a token of it with the Anointed Procession or any token doubler, it's going to make 2, and then you have to sack them. But if they have ETBs, then that's all that matters. You want to capitalize on enter the battlefield effects. And I feel like this could be a different way to approach Boros, and I'm super excited to try and get my hands on one of these and try to build around a creature like this. But that is going to be it for today, everybody. I really appreciate everybody that has liked and subscribed on the videos, that has subscribed to the channel, liked and left comments and everything. You just don't know how much I really appreciate it. If you haven't seen it, I did upload a podcast-like video on the channel earlier this week. You probably didn't pique your interest, but I thought it was a unique idea. If you, like I said in that video, if you have any ideas for future topics, and I'd be very willing to try and look into those and all that good stuff for more episodes of that, because I do like talking at length on, different subjects in magic besides, the daily news and stuff like that. But that's going to be it for today, everybody. And I'll see you guys next time in the graveyard.